and start recording. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, welcome everyone. This is our last GBM of the year. We're gonna go over the AADSAS application, and at the end of our meeting, we're gonna talk about the election results. I know that's what all you're waiting for, but we'll save the best for last. So I just want to preface by saying thank you for an amazing year. I know it was shortened by COVID-19 and we couldn't do all the activities we planned, but I think this is one of the best experiences I've had at Stony, if not the best. I've made countless number of friends, even just this year. I've met so many people that I already knew, I became friends with, I've become tight with. The e-board has been so supportive this year. I just want to thank everyone for an amazing year. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, just to be brief, but let's get started with the AADSAS application. So the application, actually let's talk about things you should do before you apply. You should have your prerequisites completed, or most of them completed. We talked about this in one of our first meetings of the year, but typically for most schools you need 1 year of Gen Chem and labs, 1 year of Orgo and labs, 1 year of Intro Bio and labs, and the Intro Bio courses are Bio 202 and Bio 203. 1 year of physics and labs, a semester of biochemistry. You don't need the lab for that class. 1 year of math, that's usually Calc 1 and Calc 2, or Calc 1 and statistics. 1 year of writing intensive English, that includes writing 102 and a number of different courses. You could see on the pre-health website, the pre-approved courses that apply for the writing requirement, the English requirement. And if you want more details on the prerequisites and when you should take them, we have a presentation on that on our website. One thing I want to note is that generally for most dental schools, you should have these prerequisites completed by the time you graduate. But for Stony Brook School of Dental Medicine, they want their prerequisites all completed before you apply. So if you're applying, if you want to start dental school right after undergrad, you should have all these prereqs completed by the end of junior year. I think Stony Brook is the only school that I know of that has that requirement. So just keep that in mind. You should also have your letters of rec completed and your community letter in progress. If you don't know already, dental schools typically ask for 3 letters of rec, 2 science and 1 other professor or 1 dentist. And to obtain a community letter from Stony Brook, you need to send the pre-health office at least 3 letters of rec. 2 of them usually have to be science. There's an autobiography packet that they require for you to fill out, just questions about your life, the classes you've taken. Your DAT score has to be either in or a DAT exam scheduled. And you have to send them a draft of your personal statement. Once you have any of those 3 letters in, it doesn't have to be 2 science, it could be any of the letters. You could schedule a committee interview, which will be held by Mr. Montran. He's very casual. The interview isn't very intense or intimidating. And then after you have the interview, you wait 2 to 8 weeks to receive your committee letter. Most dental schools ask that if your undergrad supplies a committee letter, that you must have one when you apply to dental school. So Stony Brook offers a committee letter, so you should definitely get a committee letter. It helps you out a lot. A presentation about letters of rec and the committee letter are on our website as well if you want more details about that. And also before the application opens, or before you submit, you should have your personal statement written, or at least a draft saved. So it's limited to 4,500 characters. And again, we had a personal statement workshop. You could check that out again on our website. And then make sure your DAT is either taken or it's scheduled. And when you're on the AADSAS application, you use your dent pin, which is this unique identifier that you use to register for your DAT, and you input it into the AADSAS application, and it should automatically, within like a week or 2, upload your DAT score officially to the AADSAS application. So let's get into the application itself.
Dave, if you don't mind, if I could
Yeah.
just add one thing.
Go ahead.
So before, I know that you mentioned that like it's required to have 2 science letters. I just want to say that if anyone's having trouble finding 2 science professors to write them a letter, I have a friend who had a committee letter interview with only 1 science professor. Specific to Stony Brook and the committee letter, it's recommended to have 2 science. Now I don't know, like you should probably, if that's something you're doing, you should call the schools you're applying to and make sure that that's okay. But they will give you a committee letter without 2 science professors, just a minimum of 3 letters.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the clarification, Kate. I actually didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. I actually have been having trouble getting my second science professor to submit the letter that he said that he would have submitted 6 months ago. So I don't know who else might be having that issue, but that is an issue I've heard of a lot of people having. Do you guys know specifically which schools that would matter to?
I don't. I think I didn't really do any further research because I'm not sitting like in the same situation. I got my 2 science professors, but I know that Mr. Montran, like for the schools that accept the committee letter, Mr. Montran was writing her letter without the 2 science.
Right.
I know that a lot of schools such as Stony Brook say at least 2 science and 1 non-science, or a committee letter. And the committee it doesn't specify what should be in the committee letter. So
I have a question.
yeah.
I have a question. So I don't know if like this counts or not, but if someone had a math professor write a letter, would they count that as a science letter or no?
That wouldn't.
No, right?
No,
Okay. I didn't think so.
Biochem.
I didn't think so, but you never know.
No.
Or like psychology, would that even count or no?
I don't think so, no.
No? All right, yeah.
That'd be like a hard science, like BCP.
I could just say one more thing.
Yeah.
I know that Hemick, if you guys take physics with him, even if he's not really familiar with you, he's very nice. And like I have a few friends who've gotten letters from him, even though like it was an online class and they don't really have much interaction with him. So if you really do need a science letter and you don't really care about the quality, you can ask him. Or I know the organic chemistry professors, even if you don't know them that well, a lot of them will write you a letter too if you did well in their class. Without like you don't have to be a TA.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best thing is to always try to make a connection with the professor so the letter's more genuine. But if you're at a crossroads and that's your last option, I guess that's what you have to take what you get.
Yeah.
Okay. No, those are good points. Good questions brought up. But yeah, let's go briefly over the application timeline based on the AADSAS application. So the application opened earlier this week on May 12th. And you could look at all the modules. You could complete or fill in all the modules. But the first day to submit the application is June 16th. I think it was pushed back about 2 weeks from like June 2nd.
Yes.
But you have about a month now to fill out the application and then submit mid-June. I recommend applying as early as you can. Once you have everything in, anything that's in your control, please complete, like the personal statement, all the experiences, the program materials, complete that as soon as you can. And then as soon as you get your committee letter, as soon as you get your DT done, press submit. The earlier you submit, the higher your chances are of receiving an interview. And then there's an academic update period between August 14th and September 30th. So if you're taking a summer class, for example, and you already submitted your AADSAS application, but you want to include the grades from your summer courses, you could do so during that update period. December, there's another update period. If you want to input your fall grades, it's optional. And then December 1st is the first day that schools will notify you of acceptance. And anytime between July and March, you could receive an interview. But the first day you could receive an acceptance is December 1st. February 3rd is when the AADSAS application closes. But you have to remember that some schools or many schools close their application before that February 3rd deadline. Some schools close on December 1st. Some schools close on January 1st. You just have to be aware of the deadlines for every school. But regardless, you should be applying in the summer ideally. And then February 10th, last day to submit all official documents of the AADSAS application. And in many of these slides, I included a link. This isn't just for me to cite the link. This is for you to go to if you want more information about it. And I encourage you to do so, just so you have a full picture of what I'm talking about. So a COVID-19 update. So the AADSAS application has added a space in the application for you to explain how COVID-19 has impacted you, whether that be a delay to your DAT score, inability to take a certain class. Maybe you were taking online classes and it didn't really suit you, and it may have impacted your grade. It could be under any of these three categories that are on the right side of the slide. And then I also saw somewhere on the AADSA website that AADSA is requesting that dental schools allow students or applicants to be sent interview invites before their DAT scores in. So if there's a good applicant who seems like a good fit, but they don't have their DAT score in, AADSA is requesting that dental schools have a system where they send these students interview invites regardless. But acceptances to dental schools will be contingent on having your DAT completed, of course. Okay, so let's get into the application itself. So this is the home page of the application, and you can make an account by clicking on the link on this slide. And when you make an account, make sure you make it under your personal email and not your Stony Brook email. This is one, to prevent any bias that may come from dental schools at all. You don't know who is reviewing your app. And two, your SBU email may not be active if you're graduating. So you always want to make sure that you have your personal email that is accessible to you indefinitely. So there are 4 sections to the application. There's a personal information section, academic history, supporting information, and program materials, and we'll go through each one of them. And you could first add what schools or what programs you want to consider. So here you could, on this tab, look at all 60-something dental schools that use the AADSAS application, and add them to your application. And you could actually look at details about each school if you click on them. You could filter out by location, by program type, and deadline. But yeah, that's self-explanatory. So when you're deciding what schools you should apply to, you want to look at their GPA and DAT averages, whether you fall within that range reasonably. You want to look at the prerequisites that each school requires, because each school is slightly different. Some schools require different courses like microbiome or anatomy, psychology. You just have to go to the website of each dental school and see what prereqs they require. You want to look at the location that the school is in. Do you want to live in New York City? Do you not want to live in a city? Do you want to live somewhere in the South? You have to consider that, because you're going to be at that dental school potentially for the next 4 years. And then you want to look at the strengths and weaknesses of each program. You want to look at the facilities, the faculty that they have, the atmosphere of the school itself, the student culture, how grading works, how the didactic courses are taught, whether it's integrated with the medical school, whether you like that or not. The opportunities the school provides outside of just coursework, the clinical experience, the non-clinical education that you get. Maybe you want to do research. Maybe you should look into a school that focuses on research, or maybe some schools have a community service requirement, and that's something you want to do. You should look into those. And in deciding how many schools you want to apply to, this is just my opinion. If you feel that you're a very strong applicant, your statistics are high, you've had a lot of extracurricular experience, you've been involved in the dental field, I suggest applying to between 6 and 10 schools, and make sure they're schools that you really like and you really want to be a part of. If you feel like you're a good applicant, you have pretty good stats, you're part of pre-dental society, you have some, oh, is someone sending a message?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll address that after this. You have decent stats, you have extracurriculars, but maybe you don't think you're the top of the top, then consider applying to 12 to 18 schools. Maybe apply to a number of state schools and a couple private schools. See which state schools offer in-state tuition after the first year. And if you feel like you're a weaker applicant, you don't know if your grades are up to par with the schools you want to apply to, consider between 12 and 24 schools. Obviously, the more schools you apply to, the more expensive it will be. So put that into consideration as well. Or you could wait a year and try to beef up your application to the best of your ability. Yeah, so Paul said something in the chat about using a professional email address. Like, don't have like soccerkid2000@yahoo.com. Make sure it has your first and last name in it, or your first and last initials, something along those lines. And then John Baptiste says, a dentist was telling me to check the dental school's board passing rate too. Yeah, that's important. You want to see, that's also part of the didactic and non-clinical education. And a good way to assess that is by seeing the rate at which students pass the boards on their first try. And usually that information is available on the school's website. Thanks, John.
If I could just make a few suggestions before moving on. I personally made an email specifically for dental school applications and the DAT. So any email that I get for an interview or my dent pin, like everything, there's like only 10 emails on it right now, so I don't have to skim through, another email. I think Rachel made that suggestion in one of her GBMs, and I thought that was helpful.
Yeah.
Also, that's a great suggestion, Jonathan. Like, I think you should look at the board passing rate, but I was watching a webinar a couple weeks ago, and someone was telling their story, and they said that during an interview at their top school, when they asked if he had any questions, he asked them what their board passing rate was, and he said he could tell right then and there, like, he was not getting accepted. Like, the whole interview was going really well, and then when he asked them, how they prepare for boards and what their passing rate is, the person, really wasn't fond of that. So I wouldn't recommend talking about that during the interview, just from what I've heard from other students.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe do your own research.
Yeah, maybe it's best to do your own research and find out like internally, maybe asking dental students that you know at the school. But yeah, okay.
I also interject really quickly. One last thing. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one thing that the board idea is a really good idea. The problem is right now they're switching boards to
That's
integrated boards.
Yeah.
So like the year above me / my year is the one that's officially has to be like everyone has to take the integrated boards. The year above me is sort of mixed in between. So you honestly have no idea because these boards are completely different. Like different schools may be more strongly prepared for it than others. The curriculums are changing. So I wouldn't necessarily make that your top priority. Like definitely it's a good idea to look into it and see, okay, so on average, if this many people pass, like this is a good idea to go here, but I wouldn't make it a important point when deciding a school.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rachel. That's a good point. How the board exams are changing to an integrated single board. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so the first part of the application is the personal information section. This is very self-explanatory. You have to fill out a lot of information about your biographic information, your family information, contact, whether or not you're a citizen, information about your parents, your ethnicity, your race. So I kind of skipped over that, but I went to the important part, the other information section. So the other information section asks you for your dent pin first, and that's going to let AADSAS be able to view your DAT score. You'll have a dent pin as soon as you register to take the DAT. So as soon as you do that, you'll have your dent pin ready. It'll ask you about your language, questions about military status, felony or indictable offense, or misdemeanors. When filling out this application, I just strongly recommend to be honest. You could explain what happened if you were ever in a misdemeanor situation or felony offense, but just be honest. It's better to be honest and upfront about it so you could explain yourself rather than dental school somehow finding out that you lied on your application, and then they kind of don't see it positively. There's some trust issue that lies in that. Any academic infraction either. Be honest, be open about it. If you had some problem and you had an RA write you up, just be honest about it. And if it's ever brought up, try to spin it in a way to show how you've learned from that situation. Have you ever attended a health professions program? Also, be honest about this whole application. Dental schools might ask you if you matriculated into medical school or nursing school and why you switched. And again, just always spin it in a positive way, in a way that shows your commitment to dentistry. education interruption, just answer that as you need to. If you've applied to dental schools in previous applications, and if you are a reapplicant, you need to explain what you've done to improve your application since the previous year or previous cycles. And one last part, they asked about manual dexterity. To the extent that dental schools care about this, it depends on each school, but try to think of things that you do that involve your hands. I didn't have any specific manual dexterity related like skills. I talked about me being able to play the trombone, me playing basketball, and I think the biggest thing was me playing video games with a controller for 15, 16 years. That requires some fine motor movement. But if you do anything like stitching, crocheting, building model bridges, even cooking can be considered manual dexterity to an extent. Anything, just list it and make yourself. This is a way to make yourself stand out. If you have any unique hobbies or talents.
Hey, Zaid,
Yeah.
for people that like came to manual dexterity nights, would you like suggest they put that they did that in there, or only things that they regularly do?
I would do something that I put things that you regularly do. For the manual dexterity nights, you could include that in the experiences section of the application. But I'd put things that you've been doing for a long time, something that like a skill that you've developed over time. Okay, and this is what I was talking about before. This is a new answer box this year for the COVID-19 situation. So you could explain how COVID has impacted you academically, professionally, or personally. And there's also a new question about being a first-generation college student, something dental schools might want to know. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's get into the second part of the application, the academic history. So here it's going to ask you what high schools you've attended and all the colleges that you've attended as well as the transcript entry and standardized tests you've taken. So colleges, list all colleges you've attended, either as a matriculant or a non-matriculant. Maybe you took a summer class at your local university or college. Be sure to include that. Or if you took high school classes that counted for college credit, and they show up on a college transcript, also include that school. And you must, when doing the transcript entry, you must submit transcripts from every school that you've attended as a matriculant or a non-matriculant. So Stony Brook's method of receiving a transcript is easy. I'll go over it in a bit, but if you went to another school, be sure to call their registrar office and request the transcript to be sent directly to AADSAS. And then the schools will send it to AADSAS, and AADSAS will verify the transcript on your application. So this is how to send transcripts through Stony Brook. Here's a link on a more detailed guide. But in general, you want to call the registrar's office. You can't go there in person now, unfortunately. But you want to request a transcript. And if you have any AP exams that you want to include on your college transcript that resulted in college credit, you have to go and ask the registrar for a Unite transcript or an HSC transcript. I had to do this, and it's a little more expensive. I think it's $30 to send the transcript. But if you want those AP credits to count and to potentially cover your prerequisites, you have to ask for the Unite transcript. You'll show to ask, if your parents are doctors before back at your home country that is outside the US, do you still consider yourself to be a first-generation student? Let's see what it asks. So here the box says, are you a first-generation college student? A first-generation college student is defined as a student whose parents, legal guardians, have not earned an associate's or bachelor's degree. It doesn't specify anything about being in the U.S. I would say...
Just with that question, so every time that pops out, I don't know which one to put.
I would say, I don't know. That's a good question. I would say no, because you have family that are in higher education.
But they're not doctors or like any type of position in America, but they were back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess there's an I don't know box. I guess you can put it there.
I think Because I'm in a similar situation. My parents both got degrees back in their home country,
Yeah.
but I would personally put no, because I've done similar forms like this on other applications, and a lot of them ask, like, if so, what country did they get it? So they assume that this includes other countries. I would say I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I've been doing, and that's probably what I'm going to do here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it'll be like a crucial factor in application if you put yes by accident, even though it might have been no. But maybe it's just a way for downschools to better understand your situation and your family history. A good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They just referring to what you were talking about with the transcripts.
Yeah.
I requested mine from Stony Brook and the school in Philadelphia I went to, and I tried to call register and I couldn't get through. So I just went on the website and it directs you, you'll see on AADSAS, it asks you what type of application it is, you click it, and then you have to put like your ID information in, and then you pay like $10 and it goes through itself. So like, if you can't get through, you can do it online as well on the register website or through Solar.
Yeah, so that's a good point. And if the thing is, if you do not have any AP credits, you could do it through through online. If you do have AP credits that you want to transfer, you'd have to do it with the Unite transcript in person or physically. But yeah, you could also, yeah. What's up?
I was just asking. So I don't believe I have AP credits, but I took a dual enrollment type, a few dual enrollment classes in high school. So those credits technically are fulfilled through Suffolk. So would I have to worry about the Unite transcript? I don't think so, because I could just order a transcript from Suffolk and another one from Stony Brook.
Yeah, exactly. That you don't have to worry about the Unite transcript. The Unite transcript's only if you have AP courses.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
So what if the AP credit gave you credit for like a gen ed requirement, but not for a prereq? Would you still need to do that?
I did, just so those credits were seen by the
Recognized?
school. They're recognized by
Okay.
the school. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Because I think on my application, I only had one course. That was Gen Chem. That was through AP credits. But the rest were just, I included them just because.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. Again, this is the way you order your transcript through the Unite transcript. It's $30. You have to send a physical copy, but if you don't have AP classes, you could do it online for $10. And again, the link to this order form and details about it is at the bottom of this slide, and I encourage you to go to it once this presentation is over. And once AADSAS receives the application, it'll take them about 2 weeks to verify the transcript and that the grades are accurate. Okay, so transcript entry itself. So this is an important part and specific to Stony Brook students. So even though AADSAS receives an official transcript from your school, you must still manually input every course that you've taken and the letter grade that you received. So how to access your own transcript if you don't already know, you have to go onto Solar, go to student records and registration, then academic records, transcripts, view PDF unofficial transcript, and then view report. For filling this manual part out, the unofficial transcript will suffice. And I'll show you in the next slide, but it's going to ask you for the course code and the course title for every single course. This has to match exactly as it's shown on your written and on your transcript. If it's not, otherwise, when AADSAS goes to verify your manually inputted grades to the official transcript, it's going to flag it and it's going to delay your application by asking you to fix the errors. There's an option on AADSAS to pay AADSAS to input the grades for you. I would recommend not doing this. Do not do this. No.
Yeah.
Because the AADSAS does not know exactly how STINRIC's transcripts work. You know better than AADSAS, and they're very likely to make errors on your application, on your transcript entry that's going to delay the processing of your application. I know a student at STINRIC Dental right now who did pay for this service, and this is the exact complaint that he had. So do not pay AADSAS. It'll take you an hour of your time to do it yourself, so do it yourself. So this is what it looks like. You could add a course and add a semester, and then input the course code, the course title, and then it's going to ask you for a subject, there's a whole list of subjects. Just put whatever best fits the course title. Obviously, intermediate French is going to be under the French subject. You type in the number of credits that you received, and then also next to this, it's going to ask you like the credit weight. Just put 0 next to that. That just means 100%, meaning it's a semester. Some schools do their classes in a quarterly system. So instead of 0, they would put 50, meaning like half the weight. But yeah, so you'll input your grade, and then automatically the AADSAS application will output a CAS grade. This is the grade that AADSAS uses to standardize everyone's transcript. Some schools have A pluses in their school system, grading system, and the CAS grade will automatically change that to an A so that everyone's grade is standardized.
Do they change A minus to A right there too?
No, I think A minus still stays as
Okay.
A minus. But yeah, so this is what I was talking about. You can input the number of credits here, and then where it says 0, keep it as 0. And also, if you went to a college that had numerical grades, it'll translate that into a letter grade, the CAS grade. And I was talking about here again, the subjects that you could choose from. There are a lot of subjects. Like every course will fit some type of subject. AP credits. Oh, this is an important slide if you have AP credits on how to fill it out. So when you're doing the manual transcript entry, as you can see here, look at your unofficial transcript and look at which semester has all your AP courses. In my case, it was fall 2016 when I was a freshman. So what you want to do is after inputting your normal courses, you want to put in your AP courses exactly how it's written on your transcript, the appropriate subjects, and then under the grade, you don't put a grade, you put CR. That's like a specific course code or grade code for AP exam or placement exam. Yeah, and make sure that it goes under the semester that appears on your Stony Brook transcript. For example, I didn't put it under my first semester, fall 2014, because I just took a course as a non-matriculant student. I put it as fall 2016 because it was under fall 2016 on my unofficial transcript. So yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Whoever filled out the application, do you think it matters if you go back to the other slide with the subject? Like, do you think it matters how specific you are? Like, at LaSalle, where I was before Stony Brook, I took a literature class, but if I put it down as English, does it matter? Or let's say I took like BME and I put it down as biology or just engineering. Do you think it makes a difference?
So the way I see it, it only makes a difference in whole if it's like a class that may or may not be considered science. If it's like writing, or if you're just talking between literature, English, and writing, it's not going to really matter. But say, I don't know exactly a course I'd be like in between science and non-science, but there's a slide later in the application that discusses that, that shows AADSAS categorization of each subject. Some of these subjects are categorized as science, some as non-science.
Right.
But yeah, so Zayd, sorry, my dog's barking. I have a question. So yeah, I started doing it this week, and for Orgo, I put it in as organic chemistry as a subject. Yeah. But would it technically be chemistry since it's the same department as Gen Chem?
In that case, either works because they're both science courses and they'll understand. If you're taking the molecular science sequence, then I'd recommend putting it as organic chemistry specifically, because it doesn't say, like Orgo in the molecular science sequence doesn't say organic chemistry. It says molecular science 2 and molecular science 3. So that also helps kind of clarify what a course is if it's not clear about the course title. But if it's just organic chemistry, you can put either one. Being more specific helps for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was literally filling this out yesterday for me, and it's, for example, it says like general chemistry 1B. Should I write 1B, even though like I don't know what that means?
Yeah. If it says general chemistry 1B on your transcript, definitely on the course title put general chemistry 1B, exactly how it's shown. It'd be best to like just copy paste, you know?
Gotcha. Thank you.
So for a class that is like on the edge of science or non-science, I took a material science class called Materials of the Modern World.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it would be classified as because it was a lot of chemistry, but it was also physics and also a lot of reading and writing. So what is that?
Yeah, so can you guys still see my screen right now?
Yes.
So I went on to the next slide and I clicked on a link that says core subjects. And let me look at material science. Oh, material. Oh, there's nothing on material science. Oh, shoot.
I think it's a great field of
Yeah, it
study.
is a gray area. I mean, from your definition of it, it sounds like a science course. If it involves physics and chemistry. But yeah, that's a unique situation. I'm not exactly sure, but from what I'm hearing, I think it'd be science. And like I was saying, this is a list of core subjects, and anything that's categorized as behavioral science, such as psychology, will go in your science GPA. Biochemistry, biology, of course. If it says anything with science in it, like behavioral science or developmental science, that's science. And then there's a whole list of non-science categories, and you can look at exactly what subjects fall into that year. But yeah, I hope that helps. And then other science is also a science course, and it will go into your science GPA. But yeah, whole list, cool.
I think I just saw materials.
Oh, you did? Under other science?
Yeah.
Maybe Control F.
Yeah.
It like didn't come up before, but it's like good to know that they're there.
Yeah. I don't see it here, but yeah, there is a extensive list that can help you out here.
I have a question about dual enrollment credits.
Yeah.
So like when it comes up as a transfer, like credit on your like Stony Brook transcript, it'll say like Stony Brook's course code for it. So like I have credits from like Syracuse. So like at Syracuse it was like econ like 1000, like they have like 4-letter like course codes or whatever, and here we do like 3. So it shows up as like eco like 108 on like my Stony Brook one. So when I list it, should I list it off of my Stony Brook transcript, or like do I need to order a transcript from Syracuse and then also include that? Also, it's like not a prereq, it's like nothing.
Yeah, that's a good question. To be on the safe side, I would go and ask Syracuse for the transcript to send it in, and then include both courses from both Stony Brook and Syracuse.
Even though it's just like one, because it was just one class.
Yeah. What class was it?
It was like intro economics from like 11th grade.
Yeah. I have like 4 classes just like that.
Yeah,
that
so I'm like, what the
got
heck?
dual enrollment fulfilled through stuffing, but it shows up.
I don't want to tell you not to do it, and then if it ends up happening that you do need to send in the transcript, that you like, it's kind of late. Like I'd always err on the safe side, and like just request it from Syracuse and put it in from Syracuse.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
So you think we should put both of them in, like when we list out our courses?
I think so, because you got credit in 2 universities anyway, you know?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, good questions all throughout. Nice. So, other transcript information. You don't need to calculate your own GPA. AADSAS will do that for you after they verify your application and after you submit. Unfortunately, you can't see your GPA that they calculate until you submit to at least one school, but they do supply, I think either on this link, the first link, I think, there is AADSAS will lets you download an Excel file where you could input all your course grades and it'll output the AADSAS GPA that it gives you. And then AADSAS will calculate a number of different GPAs, like 100 different GPAs. But the most important to consider are overall GPA, science GPA, your cumulative undergraduate GPA, if you're doing a post-bac program or a master's program, those GPAs. And also what's important is your GPA trend from semester to semester or from year to year. Maybe you weren't accustomed to the lifestyle where the course load of college work your first year, and then every other year you spent catching up and trying to make up your GPA. If they see that your GPA went from like a 2.5 your freshman year to like a 3.8, 3.7 in your following years, they'll look at that positively. And this is what I was talking about. When you submit your AADSAS application, these are all the GPAs that it will calculate, and there are a lot of them. So they also, in addition to just your normal GPA, they'll calculate every GPA without the plus minus grade. So if you got A minus in a number of courses, it'll bump it up to an A. On the other hand, if you got a B minus on a B plus on all of your courses, it'll bump it down to a B. But this is also just to help standardize GPAs for students from a number of different schools. It helps the dental schools kind of look at GPA at a less, in a more standardized way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, they have GPAs for bio, just chem, just physics, just biochem, BCP, which is biochemistry and physics, science GPA, non-science, a whole number of GPAs. And then also your GPAs from each of your years and your post-bac years if you haven't. Okay, so standardized tests. The only standardized test you need to take for the AADSAS application is the DAT. So you could click on this blue button to add a test score, and it will ask you to input your dent pin, whether or not you've taken the test. If not, then you don't have to input the grades that you got or scores that you got for each section. But if you did not take the test, or if you've already taken the test, you indicate when the test was taken or when you plan to take it, when it's scheduled to be taken. And then I'll go over it later, but you could submit your AADSAS application without having your DAT score in, as long as you have it scheduled. And then once it's taken, it'll be sent to AADSAS immediately. And within, I think, 10 days, it'll be verified. Okay, so the next section, this is one of the most important sections, is supporting information. So this goes over all the experiences you have in college, all the letters of rec you've acquired, achievements, any licenses, and your personal statement. So evaluations, this is the letter of rec section. So if you're receiving a community letter, you could upload it through this application by sending the pre-health office an evaluation request. In general, you could submit up to 4 letters of recommendation or 1 committee letter and 1 individual letter of rec. In my situation, I just had the committee letter and that occupied 3 of the 4 slots. And here is what you should include if you want the committee letter. When you send an evaluation request, does someone have a question?
Yeah. Do you recommend having like a dentist do like a separate thing from the committee letter? Because I know you can have the committee letter and then like a separate letter. Do you recommend not putting the dentist rec in the committee letter?
So the way the committee letter works, all of the letters, or at least the first 5 letters, or at least 5 letters, will be included in entirety in the committee letter. So I don't think there will be too much of a difference between having it separate or within the committee letter. But let's say, I don't know, you have someone that really stands out that you weren't able to get in your committee letter. Maybe it is a dentist. Maybe it's just another professor or a research mentor. And you want that letter to kind of stand out, then I'd include it separately from your committee letter. But remember, you only have 1 person that you could do that with.
Okay, thank you.
So what about schools that like explicitly ask for a dentist letter in addition to like a committee letter? Like if you send it in, like if you sent in your dentist letter to the committee office, could you request that they send that letter like separately?
I think it would suffice to have it only in the committee letter, because the dentist letter should have a letterhead and a signature from the dentist regardless, so the dental school will know that a dentist did write you a letter.
Okay, cool.
Maybe if you have more than 5 letters, and the committee letter from James Montran only includes in the entirety 5 letters, if you want to make sure the dentist letter's in there, just tell Mr. Montran that I would like the dentist letter to be included in the entirety. Yeah, okay. So when you're sending an evaluator request, this is for the pre-health committee. You want to select yes if you're submitting a committee evaluation. And under the name, you put James Montran. Under the email, you put prehealth@stonybrook.edu. And due date, that's just any day that you find ideal that you're comfortable asking Mr. Montran to send it in by. You can send a personal message to. And it's important that you normally waive your right of access to viewing the letter. That's just typically what you should do. I don't know, I don't know if dental schools look at you differently if you did not waive the access, but usually you should. And then just check these permission boxes. And then again, you could submit your AADSAS application before having your letters of recommendation in. Just make sure you have your evaluator request sent in, and then your evaluator can send in the letter as soon as they can. Dental schools will probably not look at your application completely until you have your letters though. So just be sure of that. This is another important part, experiences section. So any experience that you had at Stony Brook in college, starting from college, not in high school, starting from college and beyond, include it in this application. It could be anything. It does not have to be dental related at all. I included, these are most of the examples that I included for my experiences. And they include a lot of pre-dental society specific events, such as like the event where we stitched with the Stony Brook Stitchers, or the event where we had our oral health banquet, or the drill fill chill event. You could put specific events, even if they're one day, onto this application. And then you could categorize them by type, academic enrichment, research volunteer. And then this year they added a specific section for dental shadowing. This is also where you put dental shadowing. These are the questions that they ask you for explaining each type of experience. They ask you the organization name and like a contact information. If you're doing something under Pre-Dental Society, you could put it under either my name or Lakshmi Ramsundar, who is our faculty advisor for Pre-Dental Society, and the contact email, either the Pre-Dental email or Lakshmi's email. Experience dates, whether you're still doing the experience currently, status, that's like part-time, full-time, one-time thing. And then there's the title of the experience, whether if it was just like an activity that you did, then just put volunteer. The average number of hours per week, the number of weeks you did it for. If it's a one-day thing, put 1 week, and it'll calculate the total hours. And then you have 600 characters, which is not a lot of space, to just describe what you did for each activity. And these are some examples that are in my application. I talked about TAing, my responsibilities. I talked about even stuff that I had not done yet, such as research. I just found a research position that I was going to do during my senior year, and I talked about my plans for that year. And
Zid, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So I started doing this week, but I was questioning whether, so I'm a dental assistant, I was questioning whether I should put that as employment or if I should put that as dental experience.
Put that as what? Or dental experience?
Employment.
Oh, employment. I put it as employment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's a job, yeah. Employment.
And
they'll know it's dental assisting, and they'll know it's dental experience when they read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a question, Kate?
Yeah, so I think you guys know that I work a lot of jobs, or like I have since I was like 14.
Yeah.
And some of them like I'd honestly rather not like put down. Do you think that like that'll, not considered lying, but any job that I worked on the books, do I have to record that or like mention that?
You don't have to.
I don't think so.
You don't have to. If you don't,
like,
if you don't feel like it.
And I just feel like that's not gonna, you know.
Yeah, if you don't have to include it if you don't feel like it's relevant.
I worked at a campground, and I'm not planning on putting that.
Okay. I don't know if they were gonna see like my, you know, my work experience like from. I don't think we give them our social security number, but
No,
I think you get what I'm saying.
You don't.
I don't want to.
No, they're not gonna scrutinize and look over and want to find out every single job that you work. If you don't feel like putting it down, you don't have to.
Zaid.
Okay, 'cause I don't think they care.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, David?
A lot of the enrichment type events through our club, I see that you put like date ranges because you know it happened like more than once.
Yeah.
How strictly do we have to worry about the dates here? Because say if I did a certain event like 3 times and I just put a range that was like the first time I did it my freshman year and like the last time or something like that, that should be fine, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. So, for example, here I had the human anatomy lab where we looked at the cadavers. I just put the first that date that we went, which was like November 2017, and the last date. And they'll know that it only happened twice because I put 2 total weeks and 1 hour per week. Again, they're not going to scrutinize so heavily. on the specific dates, unless it seems kind of outrageous, like unbelievable. They're not really gonna be picky on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also have one more suggestion, especially for anyone who's a freshman or a sophomore. I highly, highly recommend having a log of all the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just like one of the small events that you guys are doing in pre-dent where you're like making origami, like write down like origami this day, like a tiny description, or like you shadowed someone, just quickly write down some notes about it, because it'll make it infinitely easier to fill this part out. And also, if you have an interview, it'll just be nice to like read through it, jog your memory, so that if an interview picks out that one tiny detail of your application, you have something to respond to.
Definitely. And there's a good chance that I might have an added interview. I remember I had an interview and the person just said banana suturing. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, banana suturing. I was like, oh, do you mean the event that I attended? And I kind of explained it. And I was like, okay, I see. You know what you're talking about. So like definitely do what Rachel said, keep a log with a description of every event that you've done throughout your time in college, and be able to talk about it a little bit. And if you be honest about your involvement in your description, so that like you seem genuine when you discuss it with an interviewer.
Yeah, I just to make a suggestion, whenever I shadowed, like when I came home from the periodontist, I would write in a notebook like what I saw, what I experienced. That way when I have this notebook that I could look over before I go to an interview, because it was in like 2017. Like I'm not gonna remember it now, but
yeah.
Or like any, like I work as a dental assistant, any like cases that I saw that I thought were really cool and I would like to talk about, I wrote those down in the journal as well. So just something to maybe consider doing.
Definitely.
And one more thing, if you did research in high school, and like, for example, I did research since like 10th grade, and I worked in a lab in Stony Brook for a part of that time. And so I've included like in here where all of these hours are from college and beyond for doing research. But I have been doing research since 10th grade because I wanted to make them know that I've been doing research for a while. So during one of my interviews, they asked me, okay, so tell me about this high school research. Like they pointed at that specific title and they're like, okay, so what was it about? So like know everything that you put into your application, review it 10 million times, and don't lie about it, because they can definitely check you. They'll know if you're lying.
Yeah.
So thankfully I remembered what I did in high school, but you just have to be prepared about everything.
Definitely. Good points. So the next section is pretty similar. Their achievements. They could be a scholarship that you might have received, any awards, some honors society that you may be a part of, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Honors, awards, and scholarships, the date issued, and just a brief description of each. Also, they have licenses. So if you are RDH, a dental hygienist, CDA or CDT, or any other type of license, it could be in the medical field, it could be in some other type of field, you could list it, and you have to include a copy of the license itself. But yeah, just a cool way to make yourself stand out, add on to your experiences, and a little bit about you and what you've been doing. Personal statement. So we had a personal statement workshop during the semester, and again, it's a 4,500 character essay on why you want to pursue a dental career. Make sure it not only shows your interest in dentistry, but your commitment to the field and your motivation to pursue a dental career. Again, PowerPoint on everything you should include on our website. And yeah, do not make it specific to one school, because this essay goes out to every single school that you apply to. So make sure it's broad and not catered to a specific school. Program materials. So this is someone have a question or no?
No, I was going to say, for people who are struggling with the personal statement, if you have Facebook and you look up the woman, her name is The Reluctant Writer. She charges $40 an hour, and like I would give her, if I can give her like 10 stars, I would, like she's really, really, really great. So her name's The Reluctant Writer on Facebook.
Cool.
Caitlin, no one's preventing you from giving her 10 stars. You can do that if you want.
She's great.
Writing that down.
Yeah, the reluctant writer.
Cool. Yeah, always have people review your personal statements. Have someone who will give you honest feedback. But yeah, thanks, Kate. So for program materials, this is the information that you give specifically to different dental schools. Every school that you select in your application, they have specific questions, specific prerequisites that you need to fill out. I think we have someone in the chat. Oh, Kate, can you just write down her name in the chat?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So every school that you apply to has their own questions, their own prerequisites that you need to match. And here's an example: Stony Brook Dental School. So there's 3 sections: a home section, a question section, and prereq section. Home section is just a description of their school. Some are longer than others. Synrex is pretty short, but it just talks about the program briefly, just so you have a better idea of what it's like. It's the same information available on their website. Next is the question section. I think this is the only question Stony Brook asks. They ask 2 questions. They ask if you're interested in a PhD DDS program, yes or no. It's not going to really affect your application, whether you're yes or no. And the second question is online courses. Non-prereq courses, while online are not preferred, will be considered, but online courses must be taken at an accredited institution, in addition, accepted at an institution where the degree is being conferred. So what this means for Stony Brook offers a couple of courses that are online that are prerequisites: Physics 1 and 2, Physics Lab 1 and 2, Bio 203, I think recently started online. On the transcript at Stony Brook, it does not indicate anything that says it's online. So you should, if you've taken these prereqs online, you can still put no as did you take any prerequisite courses online. Otherwise, Stony Brook will flag it unnecessarily. It'll put delays to your application. And I've talked to professors such as Dr. Gergen in biology, and he says the same thing. It's the same quality of education that you're getting. You're taking tests in person, maybe not this semester, but you should just put no for those courses. As for the COVID-19 online semester situation, I'm sure that schools will be more lenient about having pass-fail grades and online courses for prerequisites. What I recommend personally, if you can do well in a course, let's say a B, maybe a B plus or better, I'd recommend taking the letter grade because it shows a little more than just a P. If you feel like you're not doing well in the course, you're maybe getting a B minus or below, maybe a C plus, take the pass. That's like your free pass on getting out of the course. But it's always better to have a high letter grade than just the pass for a prereq.
So Zaid, say we're taking a required course right now and it had to switch online. We would still put no for that, right?
I think you would put no. You know what? This screenshot is from last year's application. I'm gonna go on right now and see.
I think it's still on this year's though.
It's still on this year's?
Yeah, I checked earlier today.
I was wondering that
myself.
I would call Dr. O regarding that.
Okay.
I was gonna put yes, but then like just write in my thing the COVID statement.
Yeah,
you know,
that's exactly what you could
did.
do. That's exactly what you do. I think that's a good solution.
Okay, so
like, basically say I was forced to, you know, like
yeah.
Under the section where we can list any discrepancies with COVID, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are examples of other school-specific questions. Some questions are just like, have you taken courses that are online? Some questions like, have you taken a DDS? Are you interested in a DDS PhD program? Some questions are like, have you had family that are dentists? Or a family that have graduated from our dental school. But some schools are more like a secondary application where they have a school-specific like essay. For example, NYU is, why do you want to pursue dental education at NYU College of Dentistry? And it's up to 5,000 characters. I only wrote 3,000, but just be prepared. Every school has a different set of questions that they may ask you. Now, prerequisite matching. This is also important. For every single school that you apply to, you have to match the courses that you listed in your transcript entry to the prerequisite courses asked for each school. So for Stony Brook, they asked for general chemistry. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that pencil button on the top right. You're going to select every course that you've taken that relates to general chemistry that fits that prereq, Gen Chem 1, Gen Chem 2, and the labs. And you're going to add it to this section. On this screenshot that I took, it only shows one course, but it always does that. Even if you've included more than one course, it'll only show the first course that you selected. Same thing with bio, physics, English, orgo, blah, blah, blah. I know some schools like Harvard, they ask for you to match courses that are not even prerequisites, like microbio and cell bio. They're just recommended courses. So if you have those courses, then match it. If you don't have to match it. Okay, now we're on to submitting the application. So for each school that you apply to, the first school will cost $259 to apply to. I know it's a lot of money. And each additional school after the first school will cost $112. And this is the price just for the primary application, just through AADSAS. You could submit to all the schools that you've applied to at once, or you could submit to only specific schools and then choose to apply to other schools at a later date. The submission process takes a few days to like completely be verified and processed. I know I paid for my, I submitted on August 12th. I think it was like August 13th or 14th when it was officially like verified. And then each school will send you an email asking to complete a secondary application. Now the secondary application for most schools, like 90% of them, are just asking for an additional fee. It's like 50 to 100 bucks, which kind of sucks. But they won't completely review your application until you have the secondary fee paid. And then in general, I paid $1,600 for 8 schools. So that's about $200 per school after the secondary fees, including the secondary fees. So yeah. Okay, this is what it looks like when you could, after you submit your application, you could check the status of each school. It'll say whether your application is under review, whether review is complete, whether an interview invite is sent, whether your application is rejected, or if you're waitlisted, things like that. This is a way to check periodically, but I think the main method of communication between you and the school is email. They'll always email you updates about whether you're going to be sent an interview invite, whether you've been accepted, waitlisted, etc. Also, you can see on the top, it says transcript arrived. That means the transcript is like, has been reviewed by AADSAS and it's in. Same thing with evaluations and the GAT. Okay, so after submission, what can you and what can you not do? So you can have your letters of recommendation be uploaded by your evaluators. You need to send the evaluation request, and then even after you submit your part of the application, your recommenders can submit their part whenever. You can have your transcripts updated during the academic update periods that I talked about before. You could input a new DAT score. You could add more schools that you want to apply to and submit to new schools. And you could add new experiences and new achievements. You cannot edit experiences that you've already submitted or edit achievements. You cannot edit your personal statement after submission. And you cannot edit the school-specific materials that you've already submitted. This is what I was talking about before, the secondary application. Within 1 to 4 weeks, every school will email you saying they've received your application. Please fill out the secondary application or pay us a secondary fee. Usually it's just by credit card online. Some schools require like you to send them a check physically. And then you should receive an application received email. A few schools, Rachel can tell you, such as UPenn, ask for an actual secondary application. So they ask a few essay questions for you to submit to them in addition to your AADSAS application. They could range from like name a time you're in an ethical dilemma and how you overcome it. Discuss your dental shadowing experience. Basic things like that. I know Harvard sends out a secondary application, but only to those who are sent an interview invite.
I can make another suggestion real quick. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. No, so obviously the applications are very expensive. And another tip that I learned from Rachel at her GVM was credit is very important for, like, when you're going to school, it's likely that you're going to be having to take out loans. So if you have a good credit score, you're able to get accepted for those loans. So, you know, you're going to be spending a lot of money in these applications anyway. Even if you have the money, like in your checking account, you might as well open a new credit card, put it on that credit card, and start building credit. That way, when you need to get accepted for those loans, you can.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point. So open up a credit card as soon as you can, and even if you can't pay for it and your parents can pay for it, ask your parents, can I put it on my card and can you pay me back? That's a very easy way to build a good credit score, and it'll help you out when you're applying for loans. Definitely.
I know Discover Student has a very high acceptance rate. Like, that was my first credit card. I got that like maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so this is an example of an email you'll receive once your application is received by each dental school. They say that my application is received. Please pay the $100 supplemental fee. Blah blah blah. Okay, so this is just a general timeline of what to expect after you submit your application. So you submit your primary application, then you'll receive an application received email. And in that email, or maybe in a subsequent email, you'll have a request to submit secondary application or fee. And then it should say your application is under review. You should receive an email from each school saying that. And then eventually some schools will send you an interview invite. That could be through either email or through phone call. And then interviews, they could ask you to come in within the next few days or within the next month or a few weeks. Maybe in a couple of months in advance. But I know Stony Brook is kind of notorious of asking you to come in within like a week. But thankfully, like, we're close by, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And you'll have your interviews. If anyone has questions about interviews, you could ask me. I could talk about it at the end. And then starting from December 1st through usually March, you'll receive acceptance notifications. And then between April and July, if you're on a wait list, you could get off a wait list earlier than April, maybe in January. But waitlist applications or waitlist positions could be turned into acceptances anytime between April and July up to when school starts. And don't lose hope. I've heard numerous stories of students getting into dental school maybe like the week before school starts. Or they may have been admitted into a dental school, have started at school, then find out they came off the wait list at their top school or a public school that's much more inexpensive, and they switched programs. So never lose hope. And then in usually July or August, dental school begins. Last notes, after completing the AADSAS application, again, schools will communicate to you mostly through email. So if you made a separate email from your normal emails just for the AADSAS application, just for the DAT, make sure you're checking that email periodically. You don't want to miss any deadlines or miss out on any interview invites because you forgot to check your email for a week. The application portal really isn't used that much after you submit your application. It's mostly through email. And check your spam as well. And the best way to contact the school is by finding their contact information through email or phone call on their website, not AADSAS. Don't contact AADSAS about your problems. Contact each school about your situation. And just a general tip, let's say it's December, it's January, you haven't had any acceptances yet, but you really are interested in 1 or 2 schools. You can send a letter of interest or a letter of intent to your top choice school. So a letter of interest is usually during the interview period if you haven't received an interview, or after you've had your interview, just re-expressing your interest in the school and that you really you would really like to attend the school if accepted. A letter of intent is sent to usually 1 school after your interview. Let's say you haven't really heard back from them. It's just a letter explaining your commitment to the school, the fact that if you are accepted, you would definitely accept the position for the next entering class, and that you're committed to the school. just something to help you stand out if you really want to go to a specific school. Are there any remaining questions?
I have a question about summer classes.
Yeah.
I'm planning on taking biostats this summer because since I have like AP Calc credit and AP Stats credit, I couldn't take AMS 102.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's all right, like taking that over the summer?
Yeah, I think it's fine. As a prereq, it's fine. If you take a few courses as prereq, as long as not all of them or most of them, taking a prereq over the summer is fine. I took Bio 204 over the summer. There are no issues.
Okay.
Just make sure it shows on your application that you're taking a decent course load, like while you're taking the prereqs in general.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anything else? Or do you guys just want to know the results of the election? All right. Moment of truth.
Oh wait, could I ask one more question?
All right, go ahead, Amin. My guy.
All right, so I actually took a couple courses over the summer, like
I mean,
Orgo
we took 204 together. Remember?
Yeah, the 204 with you.
Yeah.
But like I took a couple courses over the summer, but that was just to like lighten my workload over the semester because I was commuting a lot.
Yeah.
So like where would I include that in the application? Is that in like the other?
I think there is a box where it asks for any personal difficulties that you may have faced in your application. You could explain that I had to commute several hours a day just to go to school, and as a result, I chose to take a few prerequisite courses over the summer to balance my schedule during the semester, so I could go to school only a certain number of days a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Going off of that, how do you know how many other schools care about online prerequisites?
No other school that I applied to of the 8 asked about prereqs online. Only Stony Brook did. But I can't say there's 60 something down schools. You have to check for every website. If they have an issue with online courses, they will say it in their website.
Okay.
But I applied to 8 schools. Only Stony Brook was the issue. So I applied to Stony Brook, Buffalo, Rutgers, NYU, Columbia, UConn, UPenn, Harvard, and only Stony Brook had an issue with online courses.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because just that writing class that I've mentioned a few times already, that one I did take over the summer online, but I'm hoping for all the other schools that care about that, I still have the philosophy class that was writing intensive. Yeah. So I'll just have to look into that. Thank you.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me, if anyone here has taken the molecular science sequence, you have to make it a point to whatever dental school you're applying, contact them directly, explaining to them about how the molecular science sequence works, that it's an accelerated general chemistry and organic chemistry sequence, because dental schools will not really know what molecular science is on your transcript. So you have to explain it to them, send them an email so it's on record, and ask if it's okay and whether these prerequisites will be fulfilled. This is to be on the safe side, just so you're not automatically rejected from a school because you haven't completed the requisites in their eyes. Okay, anything else? If not, I got the results right here. Okay.
That was a great presentation. Thank you.
No, of course. Like, I always want to help out any pre-dental student with my experience. It's a pleasure to do this.
Yeah, and I also know that some people were looking forward to having the recording posted. So are you going to post that on YouTube or something and have a link on the website?
Yeah, that's my plan. I think, so I'm saving the recording right now. It's like being recorded. The plan is, if it saves correctly, I'll upload it to YouTube. I'll attach a link, put it on our website. We'll send an email about it so people can watch it whenever, if they're not available right now. All right, so I just want to preface by saying this. Everyone who applied for an e-board position, this is my genuine opinion. Everyone was qualified to lead this club. Like, I know that genuinely. Whoever won this election, no matter who, I knew the future of PDS would be in good hands. To anyone, absolutely. Yeah. And Kate can attest to that as well.
I agree too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it was hard to choose for a lot of positions.
The interviews we had were so conversational. Everyone was friendly. Everyone wanted to, and everyone wanted to help improve the club. Not only help improve the club, but help build the community of PDS. And I think that's just as important.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say ever since I've been a freshman here, this was the most impressive pool of contestants and the largest, which was equally impressive.
I absolutely agree.
This was a big group.
Yeah.
Big group.
So I also want to say, like, we have so many people who applied for these positions, and there are 12 spots. Anyone who was not elected, again, you were qualified. You're valued. You're valued in this club, and we want you to continue being a member of this club.
Definitely.
We recognize how impressive it is to be an active member of this club. And not only that, but also to showcase yourself to the club, to the university public, to run for a position. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of it shows how committed you are to PDS.
Right.
Definitely.
So yeah, let's announce one position at a time the results. So for community service coordinator, we have Astrid and Melissa. Woo!
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
Congrats. I think you're both here, right?
Congratulations, guys.
Congrats, Melissa. Congrats, Astrid.
I think they are both good.
Yeah. And if you're confused why I put you as sophomore, so I'm just putting whatever year you're gonna be next year. So don't think I don't know you're a freshman right now. But yeah, no, this is great. Like, we have 2 freshmen community service coordinators. We're gonna be with PDS for the next 3 years. Like, this is an awesome foundation.
For sure.
Awesome.
For PR officer, we have Marquez and Maria.
Yeah. Congrats, guys.
Congrats.
All right. Next we have historian. Historians, this was a specifically very close race. But regardless of the candidates, we welcome the historians, Emma and Anaya.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations, guys.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Next we have our secretaries. Ina and Karen. Ina will be our secretary and Karen will be your assistant secretary. Congrats to both of you.
Nice.
Congratulations.
I know you're both going to do a great job.
Definitely.
All right, webmaster. Aditya.
Yeah, Deeds.
Congrats, Deeds.
That's such an old picture. Congrats.
Yeah,
Deeds.
I know. Why did you send me that picture?
Why that picture, Deeds?
I have another one. I'm ashamed, as you can see, so I couldn't take one.
Yeah. Okay, our treasurer is Asla.
Yeah.
Yay. Congrats, Asla.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our president and VP, they held me at gunpoint yesterday to tell them there was so I had just to familiarize yourself with what you're getting into. We have David Cruzati as our vice president.
Yeah.
Paul DeMarzo as our president.
Yay.
Thank you.
You guys are in great hands. I'm telling you, the future of PDS is super bright.
Awesome, yeah.
So excited.
Thank you, Zaid and Caitlin and Rachel for doing an amazing job.
Thank you, guys. I think we're well more prepared for next year.
Yeah, we had a pretty large voter turnout. A lot of the races were very close. But we couldn't have asked for a better e-board and for better members who ran.
Posting it all on social media, you know.
Hey, Zaid, I see you right now.
Zaid, you're still sharing the screen.
No, it's fine. It's fine. My screen's flickering. I don't care.
World.
So also before we continue, Paul and I would like to ask for whoever was elected to stay afterwards in this meeting, if possible, just have a few words and introduce ourselves. And I think we also wanted to say a few quick words too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Take it away.
And yep. So once again, like Zaid said earlier, This was a very large group of people running. So you should be proud if you ran, if you won or you didn't win. Either way, it was definitely a tough race. And if you're not graduating, definitely try again next year. Stay involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Paul have been talking, and we really want to give you all a chance to be involved in the club if you weren't voted or if you were voted in. So we're going to do our best to start planning events, thinking about what we're going to do for next semester and beyond. And it's great to have new blood here. We're going to have an awesome year.
Definitely. Yep. And we already started planning like new ways that, we'll be able to get people involved too.
Definitely. So you should all be very proud of yourselves.
Definitely. So thank you everyone who stayed throughout this long meeting. I'm gonna miss all of you. I'll come visit for sure, regardless if it's online or in person. I'm coming to these meetings as often as I can.
Zeta's gonna be an active member next.
That's my goal. I'm gonna be an active member next week.
I'm sure Rachel said the same thing, but then dental school catches up, Zeta.
Okay, for me it's a little bit harder.
She's like 5-6 hours away.
Well, I'm taking a gap year, so I am gonna be as much as I can.
And you can bet Rachel Pincus is gonna be here too.
For sure.
You know it.
Calendar.
Okay. Like Paul and David said, anyone who was elected for a position, please stay, and we can discuss a little bit about our future, what we're gonna do, a transition meeting, and how to get prepared for leading PDS.
Yes. I think that concludes the meeting.
Yes, the meeting has concluded.
Before I head out, I just want to say I probably speak on behalf of every inactive or active member, but this has been so helpful. I've only been in this for a year, but no doubt without PDS I would have had such a tough time applying or figuring my shit out. So all of you have been awesome. Glad I met all of you. Have fun next year. Yeah.
Glad to have known you. I mean, it's first day of freshman year. First day of freshman year. I appreciate you. And we still never 1v1 in CODs. We got to do that.
Yeah, bro, I got you. All right. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Mo, I'm glad we were able to convert you to pre-dental.
Oh, I'm so glad. It's down the best trip, the best decision, bro. For sure. Yeah. Have a nice day, y'all.
See you around, man.
You too.
Finals if you haven't finished it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck to everyone still finishing up.
Yeah.
And also, I guess I'd like to say a shout out to Claire, who was the president when I was a freshman, and to Rachel and Zaid, everyone who's been leading our club for the last few years. You guys kept me on the right path. You guys made it not a scary thing to look at all these upcoming deadlines and the DAT and applying, and you made it possible for all of us to get here, I think. So I'd like to thank you for being a guest.
Very strong role models.
We got 3 generations of presidents.
So wonderful. I mean, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of Zeta as well. It's incredible just being able to lead a club, like Caitlin too, just a few who are so passionate and so motivated.
Yeah.
So congratulations to everyone for making it such
Thank you.
Awesome
Thank you for coming, Rachel.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations on finishing your first year too.
Almost. Don't speak that quickly.
You're almost there.
You
Yeah, we
jinxed
said to speak into existence.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I should also probably leave because I know you guys have to discuss your future e-board things. But thank you all for having me. Thanks, Deets, for basically dragging me in here.
It would be Deets.
Honestly, if you guys ever have any questions, I know you have tons of people here who are obviously going to be in Stony Dental. If you need any other outside perspectives, even if it's just interviews or anything like that, I applied to 13 schools and have a decent amount of interview experience from there. So if you just have any questions about that, personal statements, whatever, these guys all have my number. You can find me Facebook, Insta, I'll respond.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Rachel actually.
So don't text her. Message her on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Don't text me. Like I don't look at my texts.
Rachel applied 13, got into 14 schools.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. Good luck next week.
Thanks for visiting, Rachel. Bye.
Coming. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Is this everybody?
Okay, I just made like a Insta story post for like all of our e-board.
Oh, dude, I just made it
I
Insta
think
for. I just posted too.
Awkward.
No. You get. I posted an actual post.
Okay, I'm putting it on the story so people
I get.
can add
Yeah.
it. Okay, I tagged everyone too.
That's funny.
So there you go.
Okay, so who are we?
I think we're missing some.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
missing Emma.
Oh, Emma, yeah.
Was Emma here at the start? I'm not sure if she was.
Yeah.
I'll text her.
Text her. Yeah.
Okay. Are we missing anyone else?
I don't think so. Hope not. Let me look through the pictures again. Nah, we have everyone.
I think that.
All right, just texted her. Let's see. I still feel like we're missing people. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Sure, I'll just take their spot. Don't worry.
No. I think we have everyone except Emma, but we can wait for her.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, we can get. Let me see.
Okay,
Was
that's
she
like
in
my
the
posters.
original?
I just
Was
got
she
them a
here
couple
originally? I do like them. I saw you put them on your story, I think, right?
Yeah, I just got them.
Yeah, I remember
I still cheese when I see them. I don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, in the meantime, we could probably do introductions. I'm sure everyone probably knows everyone else. Paul and I were thinking you guys could each say your name.
Oh, wait. Zay, do you want to stop recording?
I think it is. Oh,